Another amazing regular season in the books. Now, let's take a look at the Eastern Conference playoff bracket that won't feature a LeBron James team for the first time since 2005. We start off with the Bucks. They are in the top seed out east and home court advantage throughout the postseason. They're facing a banged-up Detroit Pistons team with Blake Griffin also a little banged up as well. They're the 8th seed. Giannis could very well end up being the MVP, but is yet to win a playoff series. So, Richard, is he ready to shine under the spotlight?
Oh, I think so. I have Giannis as my MVP, even though I don't have a vote. I think what he's done, taking that team, and again, they put great pieces around him. Don't look at me crazy when I say
I didn't say anything.
Yeah, whatever. You look crazy.
I didn't say anything.
Not yet, at least.
No. But I think Giannis is that guy this year, and I think Coach Bud and the talent that they have around him. They have two other, like Bledsoe, could have been an all-star this year. Middleton was an all-star. Brooke Lopez, matchup nightmare. And they just have they need to make sure that Brogdon gets healthy and all of these other guys are focused, but he's special.
So this is the appetizer, right? This is the good thing for the Bucks is they're playing a team that limped into the postseason both figuratively
and
with their play and literally because Blake Griffin's left knee is the size of a grapefruit, apparently. So, yeah, I think this is perfect. And Giannis, like people talk about their playoff inexperience, but they're not inexperienced. Those guys have been in the playoffs several times, and Bud obviously is a very experienced coach.
Let's move to the 4-5 series out east. We've got the Celtics with home court advantage over the Pacers. Marcus Smart is out for the first round and possibly beyond. Coach Van Gundy, we'll start with you. How vulnerable does this make Boston?
I don't think it does in the first round. Indiana without Oladipo, I don't think can match up with the Celtics. I think they win. But if he can't come back in the second round, that's certainly a problem.
Look, I'm not ready to write off Indiana so quickly.
Okay.
And I think, and I'm going to go back to something that you've said before.
Did you hear Richard in the last segment?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm just saying.
Look, something you said is Boston's all right until they get smacked in the mouth. And what happens if Indiana just wins one of those games? Does Boston fall apart after that?
They're not falling.
It could happen.
It could happen.
I'll say this. Never trust a person on the basketball show that's wearing a soccer shirt.
Oh,
no. Never trust that person. But look, at the end of the day, this is not the round where I think Boston fails.
Okay.
It's the next round.
Fair enough. Next up, the 3-seed Sixers face off against the best story of the regular season.
I just come to work.
The 6-seed Nets. Richard, you cover Brooklyn all season long. Do they pose a threat to Philly?
I think with Embiid out, I think they can win some games. I really do. But I think when you look at the numbers and the guys that they've struggled against really big players. And you know, with Embiid being one of them, you look at JaVale McGee.
Oh, that's a full
look at these numbers.
Yep.
JaVale McGee gave him 33 and 20. You know, I did the Nurkic game, and it's just if Embiid plays, I think it could be a sweep. If he doesn't play, I think the Nets have a chance to win some games, and that's where it goes.
I agree with that, but they're not going to win this series. Philly wins. Philly wins anyway.
Yeah, the question is, do they pose any threat? Answer, no.
Okay. And finally, we have the 2-seed Raptors taking on the 7-seed Magic. Richard, Orlando has been the best defensive team in the league since February 1st. Coach, does their defense give them a shot against Toronto?
Listen, I think their defense is going to make it tough on Toronto, but Toronto's defense is going to overwhelm Orlando. Yeah. I don't think Orlando has enough scoring. They need big nights out of Vucevic and Terrence Ross every night to have a chance to be competitive.
Yeah, the shot creation just isn't there against a top-flight defense like Toronto. And then even defensively, as great as they're playing, I think, again, we're talking about another young team going into a playoff series against a very veteran, experienced team, especially when you consider the St. Cyr Grandpappy's Toronto Raptors.
Yeah.
Danny Green and Kawhi Leonard bring something different to the table. They haven't been there for the ghosts of Christmas past, so they're just here to ball.
Well, and Toronto might be the healthiest team going into the playoffs of any of the real top-level contenders.
That's a great point.
Everybody's healthy on that.
And you were talking about they're going to need big games versus Vucevic, but I understand, like, you got Marc Gasol.
Yeah.
You're going to have Serge Ibaka. So you have two pretty good defensive bigs. They're not in their prime. They're not like the dominant bigs they once were. But if you're saying, hey, we just need you to defend against this guy and make his life crazy, then I think the Toronto Raptors are in good spot.
But here's the main question with Toronto. Do they have to load manage Kawhi in the playoffs? Because he did not. He
had to get it in.
Wait a minute. He did not at any point in this season play 10 games in a row. How far do they want to go in the playoffs?
Well,
There's
It's
no
a spread out.
backs. There's no.
Yeah,
you got
things
two
are spread out.
I'm just asking. Do they have to load manage in the playoffs?
The load management this year, and Kawhi was a part of that structure and making sure that he's healthy for wherever he goes next year.
Snark Van Gundy.
Wow.
That's what we should call him.
Hold on.
Wow.
Yeah,
Look at that.
hold on.
I'm with you
He
on
just
that.
walked off too.
What you guys doing here?
But so do they have to do the same thing in
No,
the playoffs?
no. He's fine now in the playoffs. He wants to go get his
I'm
max
just
contract.
That's an excellent point.
Yeah.
There
I'm
it
just
is.
checking.